James Talarico.
Thank you.
Now, here's the thing. I don't usually say this to a guest, but if people are watching this right now, it's because they found us online on YouTube. I did an act of the show that's on tonight explaining why. It's not the first time you've caused some drama. FCC opening probe into The View after appearance by Talarico. Do you mean to cause trouble?
I think that Donald Trump is worried that we're about to flip Texas.
Here we go. Stephen Colbert and James Talarico are acting as if they're the latest victims of President Trump's authoritarianism. But the reality is that they are the victims of their own self-delusion. They are victims of their own poor choices here. So Democrats have spent the last year acting as if President Trump is attacking free speech, crushing dissent, and just silencing opposing voices, and that's clearly the wave that Colbert and Talarico are riding here. They want to act as if their show, their interview, has been suppressed by the Trump administration. There's only one problem, though. CBS is denying all of this. According to The Hill, CBS denies it pulled Colbert's Talarico interview. Specifically, the network said The Late Show was not prohibited by CBS from broadcasting the interview with Representative James Talarico. The show was provided legal guidance that the broadcast could trigger the FCC equal time rule for the two other candidates. That would, of course, include Jasmine Crockett. So just keep this in mind. You know, Colbert, Talarico, President Trump is trying to silence us because they're afraid Texas might turn blue. Well, the guidance that CBS was talking about was that FCC rule where candidates should get equal time. The candidate right now, because it's a Democrat primary, is other Democrat candidates, two others, and that includes Jasmine Crockett. So no one was saying, no one from the FCC, no one from the Trump administration was saying, you can't broadcast that interview. No one was saying, you have to have a Republican on. It was just saying, you have to handle all the candidates equally. And guess what? That means more airtime for the Democrats. But instead of interviewing Jasmine Crockett and the other Democrat in the race, Stephen Colbert decided, I want to be a martyr. I'm going to act as if my free speech is being silenced. So he put this on YouTube instead of actually interviewing Jasmine Crockett. I never thought I would ever say, give more airtime to Jasmine Crockett, but here we are. If Colbert just treated her equally, this would not be an issue, but I guarantee Colbert wants to be a martyr. He is jealous of what happened to Jimmy Kimmel. You know, Jimmy Kimmel, the fight with the FCC, and I think Colbert wants that. He wants to be remembered as a martyr. He wants to be viewed as someone who stood up to the orange man, bad authoritarian figure in Washington, D.C. That's what he wants to be remembered as, and so that's why this entire thing is going down the drain. But to make matters even worse for Stephen Colbert, he actually responded to that statement from CBS.
I'm just so surprised that this giant global corporation would not stand up to these bullies. And for the lawyers to release this without even talking to me is really surprising. I don't even know what to do with this crap. Oh, hold on.
Me thinks he's a little bitter that his show was canceled. Stephen Colbert, if you want to save your show, if you want any hope of being picked up by the network sometime in the future, maybe a spin-off series, or maybe the network even changing its mind, antagonizing them, insulting them on their own network is probably not the smartest move to make. But we shouldn't be surprised in all of this, and this has nothing to do with politics. Just take a look at the ratings. According to the New York Post, CBS News shows Stephen Colbert's Late Night on track for record low January ratings. So their audience, the overall audience, is the worst it's been since January 2000. So 26 years ago. And then that record low that the article is talking about is in reference to the target demographic, which is 25 to 54-year-olds. That's who advertisers target, working adults. They have the most disposable income. So when it comes to ratings, you want that target, that key demographic to be strong. And that is the worst target demo that they have ever had. So no wonder the show is being canceled. But again, Stephen Colbert, oh, it's the Trump administration. Oh, it's censorship. And the fix here, he could have avoided all of this if he had just given equal airtime to Jasmine Crockett. And here's the thing, Jasmine Crockett, we all know she hates President Trump. We all know she has Trump derangement syndrome and she hates conservatives, but even she came to President Trump's defense. Can you believe this? Just take a look. She's calling Stephen Colbert and James Talarico liars.
We did receive information suggesting that the federal government did not shut down this segment, number one. That is my understanding, that the federal government didn't shut this down, and we will do an official statement once we get another official statement that we anticipate is going to be coming from Paramount. All right, so we will read what they say, and then we'll go from there. It is our understanding that Colbert, either Mr. Colbert or CBS, decided that they just didn't want the air. And this was because of a fear that the FCC may say something to them, and that there may have been advice to just have me on, and then they could clear the issue. It was my understanding that someone somewhere decided we just don't want to do that, and instead we're going to just do it this way.
Jasmine Crockett is right. That was not on my 2026 bingo card. Seriously, I never thought I would be defending her. I never thought I would be saying give equal airtime to Jasmine Crockett, but here we are. But instead, again, this is a crisis of Colbert's own making, and it's because he's prideful. But part of me can't help but wonder, is he doing this on purpose? Yes, I floated the theory earlier that he wants attention. He wants to be a martyr similar to Jimmy Kimmel. But what if this is actually just part of the Democrat Party's strategy? What if the Democrat Party knows that Jasmine Crockett can't win the Senate race in Texas, so they want her to lose the Democrat primary? Just take a look at these numbers. This is undeniable. Dems rake in millions after attempted censorship of Colbert interviews. Specifically, James Talarico's campaign has now raked in $2.5 million in just 24 hours. Now, while that might not seem like a huge amount when we compare it to a presidential race, that is a huge sum of money in just 24 hours for a statewide Senate race. Of course, it's the U.S. Senate, but still, that is just remarkable here. And early voting is underway, and the primary, the actual election day itself, is just a few weeks out. So this is giving James Talarico's campaign more momentum. So I can't help but wonder, is Stephen Colbert doing this on purpose, not just to make himself a martyr, but to actually give a boost to James Talarico? Does he know that this is going to hurt Jasmine Crockett in the long run? I don't know, but you can't help but wonder, right? Now, in regards to Jasmine Crockett, it wasn't just that statement. She actually went on MS Now, the Democrats' preferred media platform, and continued to bash Stephen Colbert and James Talarico on there. But before we get to that, I would like to acknowledge the members of today's Governor's Club. They are Jenny Rankin, Super Roamer, RL1401, Moon Fairy, and Super Roamer again. These are people who give tips and super thanks to the channel. I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you enjoy. Well, Jen Psaki appeared to be a little surprised by all of this.
They name-checked you. I mean, they said this: the show was provided legal guidance that the broadcast could trigger the FCC equal time rule for two other candidates, including Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. What do you make of that explanation?
We actually received a phone call, and that was a little bit earlier today. And in that call, they explained that they actually told CBS that they could go ahead and move forward with the interview of James Talarico. They just needed to offer me equal time. I did not get a request from the Colbert Show to go on. As you know, I've been on Colbert multiple times. And frankly, if we would have gotten an offer, that would have been great. But we're in the middle of early voting, so I'm kind of focused on being in Texas at this moment. I don't know what to believe, that's for sure. But I got that phone call as I was out talking to voters.
That's it. So there's so many things to talk to you about again, but they called you today, but they decided not to air the interview last night. You've been on Colbert a number of times, as you just said. Did you have any issue?
Yeah, that is, I mean, that really exposes everything that's going on here. She's been on the show before, and that didn't trigger the equal time protection because she wasn't a candidate yet at that time. Now that the race is in full swing and they're candidates, they do need to be given equal airtime. So in case you're not familiar with these FCC rules, these apply to broadcast networks. So that is different from cable. So Fox News, CNN, those air on cable. Those are networks that you have to pay for. But as far as broadcast, if you don't have a cable subscription, you can access this on just basic TV. If you have the bunny ears, you can get it over just free airwaves. And so those networks, ABC, CBS, NBC, they are supposed to play equal. They aren't supposed to play favorites. And the reason this historically hasn't applied to late night talk shows in the past is because they truly used to be comedy shows. But in the last few years, they've clearly become fundraising efforts for the DNC. They are all in lockstep with the left. They don't do anything for the right. And what's happening here is, again, the FCC, the equal time for candidates. This wouldn't benefit Republicans. This isn't about silencing Democrat voices. It would actually give equal airtime to Jasmine Crockett, a Democrat, someone who's been a fierce critic of President Trump. So please, Democrats, please, Stephen Colbert, someone tell me, how is this censorship? How is this President Trump trying to shut down free speech? How is he trying to shut down the media right here? It just doesn't make any sense. And keep in mind, Jasmine Crockett is a current U.S. House representative. So, you know, she said she got a phone call. If there was any whiff, any hint of wrongdoing by the FCC or the Trump administration, do you think she really would be saying all of this? She would be attacking them. She would stand up for James Talarico if she, you know, if there was any hint that this truly was an attack on freedom of speech. But nope, she knows that this is just equal playing field and just the government, the FCC trying to be a fair referee. To me, at the end of the day, Stephen Colbert, I don't know if he's doing this for his own personal gain or if he's doing this to hurt Jasmine Crockett and boost Talarico, but it's clear he's playing a game, and it's clear he's not telling the truth. As always, though, all of this is just my analysis and commentary, and that's what's happening in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So who do you think is telling the truth? Because only one party can be honest here. Do you think it's Stephen Colbert, or do you think it's CBS and Jasmine Crockett? Whose team are you on? Let me know down in the comments below. I never thought I would say I'm rooting for CBS and Jasmine Crockett, but here we are. I still would not vote for her, but Stephen Colbert, talk about a nasty man, and I think he is playing sick games, and it is that sort of lying and that sort of dishonesty that really has hurt the national discourse. Shame on him. If you haven't already, please be sure to leave me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.